Hope you guys are having a wonderful Maha Shivratri. So it is the most auspicious festival in the entire Sanatana Dharma, and a very close festival for all the Shaivites who consider Mahadeva alone as the supreme. So I would like to start off, people consider there are some misconceptions about this Maha Shivratri. You know, the main story behind this Maha Shivratri is the episode of Lingodbhava, where Mahadeva appears in the size of a span, in the size of a thumb initially, and then he grows in size, and Brahma and Hari go in search of the beginning and end of Lord Shiva. So that's the real theme behind Lingodbhava. So the Parvati Parameshwar Kalyanam is supposed to have happened on another date, but due to Kalpa Veda, there are some, references in the Puranas which describe the Kalyanam, happened, or the marriage between Parvati Mata and Parameshwara happened on a different date actually. Because there are some people who try to say that this Mahashivratri is actually related to the Parvati Parameshwara Kalyanam, but not at all. That is said out of the dvesham that they have for Lord Shiva. They don't want to accept that the main theme or the main story behind this celebration of Mahashivratri is the episode of Lingodbhava, where Brahma and Hari go in search of the beginning and end of Mahadeva, and they fail to locate the ends. So that's the real theme behind. And there are different levels of fasting also. So you can either do a nirjal fast, that is without water, or you can fast with water, and you can fast with fruits and water, or you can fast with by avoiding rice and beans at the end of the day. So these kind of things are there. And so one needs to understand this, the real theme behind Mahashivratri. So if you see, the story of the Lingodbhava comes in almost all the Puranas. If you take the 18 Mahapuranas, almost in the 15 Puranas, and I'll be covering about this topic also in my second book in a very detailed way. I would have touched upon some of the references. 15 out of the 18 Mahapuranas talk about this episode of Lingodbhava. So very close to the hearts of Shiva Bhaktas at the end of the day. There are many takeaway points that are quite interesting. It's a widely known story. It's a widely known story by Shiva Bhaktas, but there are many takeaway points in that story. So as you all know, where Vishnu is in Yoga Nidra, and then Vishnu is actually meditating on he is basically in Yoga Nidra, and then Brahma appears from the navel of Vishnu, and then both of them have an argument about supremacy. Vishnu claims that he is the supreme, and whereas Hari, whereas Brahma claims that I'm the supreme and I'm the one who created you, and both there ensures that actually they engage in a fight at the end of the day. And then Mahadeva appears. So here the point to be noted is he appears in the size of a span, or in the size of a thumb. Angushta matraha purushantaratma sadajananam hridaye sannivishtaha. So just like what you see here, as he appears in the size of a span, that is in the linga, as a linga. So if you see the linga also, it looks like, like the size of, it's like a thumb. When you do a thumbs up, it exactly looks like a linga. So that's how he appears in the size of a span, in the size of a thumb, basically. And then he grows in size, and then infinite sparks appear from that fiery linga. And here Mahadeva makes a statement. Mahadeva is very well aware that he is the supreme, but he doesn't say, "Oh, I am the supreme, you gotta worship me." He says, please try to locate my beginning and end. Whoever locates my beginning or end will be considered as the supreme. So he conducts a test to them, and they also accept it, because looking at the divine resplendence, radiance of that linga, Brahma and Hari were really perplexed, and they accepted to the test that was conducted by Lord Shiva. And Brahma goes in search of the head of Mahadeva, Hari goes in search of the feet of Lord Shiva, and both were unable to locate. So this story, we see that the Supreme is always beyond arrogance. Aditya Varnam Tamasak Parastad. Tamasak Parastad means one who is beyond ignorance or arrogance or ahankar. Darpahara. The Mahadeva is described as Darpahara, one who destroys the arrogance of others. So Brahma and Hari were bound by arrogance, and that's why they claimed themselves as the Supreme. I am the Supreme. No one is greater than me, and no one is equal to me. In fact, there is a place where Nrisimha claims Vishwadikak Swatantrascha. Karta Harta Kileshwaraha. I am the Supreme, and everything appeared from me, and there is nothing that is equal to me, or there is nothing that is greater than me. And then Veerabhadra will teach him a good lesson. So this story also comes in the Linga Purana and almost all the Puranas. So both of them, they were bound by arrogance. But Mahadeva just appeared. He did not claim that, "Oh, I am the Supreme, you got to worship me." He proves that he is the ultimate. There is no one equal to him. Yasmat param naparam asti kinchit. He proves that he is the ultimate, and there is no one greater than him, and there is no one equal to him. And then both of them accept and finally surrender to Lord Shiva. And there are places where actually Brahma fails to accept, and then he is cursed by Lord Shiva, right? And then Vishnu is blessed by Mahadeva. So, and also this is the first thing that ever happens in the creation. The first ever thing that happened in the creation is that episode of Lingodbhava. So this is the real theme, or the real reason behind Maha Shivaratri. So, and there are 12 Shivaratris, if we say Masa Shivaratri, there are actually 12 in number totally. Every month there is a Shivaratri. But this the Maha Shivaratri comes during the month of February or March usually. That's even more special. So regular pujas should be performed. So there is something called a Prahara Puja. So it starts off in the evening, and then it goes on for 12 hours till the next day morning. So which is a very, very nice thing to perform, which will help us to attain nearness, samipyam towards Lord Shiva. So it is easily, the various kind of muktis like Salokya and Samipya and Sarupya are easily attainable for people who worship Lord Shiva during the Mahashivaratri. And try to engage the mind completely, because Manasa Vacha Karmana Puja Japesha Vilasa Guna Rupa Namnam Yukti Priyena Manasa Parishodhanam Yat Tat Santatam Mananam Ishwar Drishti Labhyam. Tat Santatam Mananam. Even the mind should be engaged. The mind should not be thinking of some random stuff, money and towards progressing towards fame. How will I become even more famous, and how will I earn more and more money? All those things, the mind should not focus on those things, whereas the mind should completely get drenched in Shiva Bhakti and Shiva Upasana. Dhyatam Vittam Aharnisham Niyamitah Pranaihi Na Shambhoh Padam. Very beautifully in the Vairagya Shatakam, Bhartrihari brings that point in the 6th verse of the Vairagya Shatakam. So the mind is wandering completely, thinking of various things, but it does not think of the feet of Shambhu. Dhyatam mittam aharnisham niyamitah pranaihi na shambho, na shambhoh padam. It doesn't think of the pada of Shambhu, that feet that even still Brahma and Hari are searching for. So, as I said, that is the theme, that is the real theme behind Lingodbhava. So, where Brahma and Hari go in search of the beginning and end of Lord Shiva. So, almost Kurma Puranam, Brahmanda Puranam, Vayu Puranam, Vamana Puranam, Varaha Puranam, Shiva, Linga, Skandha, and Matsya Puranam, various Puranas talk about this episode. And even in Padma Purana, Narada Purana, and Bhagavata Purana, there are indirect references to this. Vishnu himself accepts in the Padma Purana, Patala Kanda, 114th chapter, he accepts that, there is, I have been still searching for your feet for crores and crores of years. Varshakoti sagasram tu sagasrabdham tathanvakam bhaktya sampujitopisha padhono darshitastvaya. So he says, like that feet of Mahadeva is being still searched by the Vedas, the Upanishads, and the Rishis have been trying to fathom the feet of Mahadeva in their hearts for crores and crores of years. Mahayogir hridam boje balam swacham hanumati varshakoti tapaskrutva varshakoti sagasreshu tapaskrutva tu dushkaram tvad rupam na abhijanati kutak padam munishwaraha aho bhagyam vichitram va chapal vichitram hi chapalo va naro mrugaha. That is what Vishnu says. And also, the Vedas, the Upanishads, the yogis, and the Devatas, and also himself, he has been searching for the feet of Lord Shiva for crores and crores of years. So this fact is quite evident where you see that Padma Purana, Narada Purana, even the Vaishnava Puranams talk about this fact of Brahma and Hari searching for the feet of Lord Shiva. So that is the central theme, and that is the main story behind the Maha Shivaratri. One definitely needs to know, because there are some people who try to create a misconception about this. So one has to be careful. Shiva Bhaktas should understand that the main theme or the central theme behind Maha Shivaratri is the episode of Lingodbhava, which has been spoken of in all the Puranas, and is also quite relatable philosophically and from the bodily perspective, because it describes the Sushumna Nadi. Sushumnaya Shivo Deva Idaya Devata Harihi Pingalaya Virinchihi. The Sushumna Nadi is something that is present within the body, and to the left is Ida, and then to the right is Pingala. So which kind of relates where Mahadeva is in the center, and to the left is Hari, and to the right is Brahma. So to the left, Hari goes in search of the end or the feet of Lord Shiva, and Brahma goes in search, to the right, Brahma goes in search of the head of Mahadeva. So this stotram is again present in Sutta Samhita. So it's kind of quite relatable, not just as a story, but also it's kind of relatable to the Sushumna Nadi that is present within our body. Chandogya Upanishad talks about the various nadis present in the body. So I had one more thing to say. Yeah, and some of the things related to the mantras that I chanted. So Rudram is a very, very the central theme of the Vedas. So it is the heart of the Veda. So every Veda contains Rudram, but the Rudram that is present in the Krishna Yajurvedam is so very special. So everywhere you see, the ninth Samam of Rudram that I recited, you can check that video where it says ye deva, ye deva deva antariksha sadaha, and then it goes on. Mahadeva is the personification of earth, water, fire, air and ether is what is spoken of there. And also he is described as that Manu, the personification of anger. Mm? And also Swarat, he is the supreme independent Lord. He is the supreme independent Lord, Swarat. That is also spoken of. And even in the Rigveda Rudram, there are interesting names like Kadrudra, Grini, which talk about the magnanimity and the refulgence and the radiance of the Supreme Lord, Maheshwara. And Rudram, like the Krishna Yajurveda Rudram is the in the center of all. So Vidyasu Shrutir Utkrishta Rudra Ekadashini Shrutau Tatra Panchaksharastattra Shiva iti Aksharadvayam is another verse from the Agamas, which talks about, like among all the knowledges, the Shruti is the Sreshta, or the Shruti, the Vedas is the supreme. In the Veda, the Ekadasha Rudram that is present in the Krishna Yajurvedam is the supreme. And within that, Tatra Panchaksharastatra, the Panchakshara mantram that comes, like Shamkaraya cha, Mayaskaraya cha, Namah Shivaya cha, Shivataraya cha. So the Namah Shivaya is the center of that Rudram. And within that Panchakshara mantram, Shiva is actually the central theme. So Shiva Shiva. So just by chanting Shiva Shiva, one will get rid of all the sins at the end of the day. So, and also apart from that, like with a focused mind. So Shravanam Kirtanam Shambhoho Mananam cha Mahattaram. So all the three things, like while doing your puja, you need to make sure that your mind also thinks of Lord Shiva. Mind thinks of Parvati Mata and Parameshwara sitting together and blessing you. So it should think of that. So if the mind keeps on wandering, Manasa, Vacha and Karmana, the Vacha just, in words you're glorifying Lord Shiva, you're chanting the mantras and you're performing activities, Dupam, Deepam, Naivedyam and all those things, but your mind thinks of something else, then there is no point. Mind should be focused on also thinking about Lord Shiva. You can imagine the Lingodbhava episode. Lord Shiva will come and bless you in that way, and appear where he appears as a Shuddha Spatika Sankasha form in front of Brahma and Hari and blesses them and destroys their ego. So focus of the mind is also important. And this Rudram, many acharyas have mentioned about how it belongs to the center. It is said that, like Anantavai Vedaha, the Vedas are infinite, but there is a verse that talks about 7 crore mantras, present in the Vedas. But in Kali Yuga, whatever we have is actually 20,000 mantras, 20,000 plus odd mantras are available to us in the Kali Yuga, in the Vedas. So if you take the chronological order of the Veda, it is actually Rig Veda, and then Shukla Yajurveda, and then Krishna Yajurveda, and then Samavedam, and then Atharvana Vedam. So if you take the chronological order, the one that comes in the middle is actually the Krishna Yajurveda. And within the Krishna Yajurveda is Taittiriya Samhita, is actually the middle part. And within the Taittiriya Samhita is the Chaturtha Kanda, that is the 4th canto, is the center. And within the 4th canto is the 5th chapter. The 5th chapter is in the center of the 4th canto. So that's why we say Chaturtha Khanda Panchama Prapataka. 4th canto, 5th chapter is actually that Rudram which is present in the center of the Veda, center of Krishna Yajurvedam, center of Taittiriya Samhita, center of the 4th canto, 5th chapter of Taittiriya Samhita, and also center of the Vedas ultimately. So that's how. And so in this way you get to that conclusion that Rudram is the central theme of the Veda and the heart of the Veda. Anyone can function without a hand or a leg or even an eye, but without a heart no one can function. So that heart of the Veda is always Rudram. And within the 11 Anuvakams, the center is actually that comes in the 8th Anuvakam. We have the Namah Shivaya that comes in the center of Rudram. And within the Panchakshara Mantram, the center is actually the center of Namah Shivaya is Shiva. So try to do try to do a lot of chantings, like today, and also make sure you engage your mind and everything. Try to Shravanam Kirtanam Shambhoho Mananam Cha Mahattaram. Shravanam Kirtanam Shambhoho Mananam Veda Sammatam. So try to hear more and more about Lord Shiva. I have uploaded like many hours of lectures in my YouTube channel. I have also written a book on Lord Shiva. Try to buy that book and also try to hear more and more today about Lord Shiva. And Kirtanam, do a lot of Kirtanam, like a lot of Kirtanams that are available on YouTube also. Do a lot of Kirtanams and Mananam. Meditate on the form of Lord Shiva. That is very, very important. And may everybody have the blessings of Lord Shiva in this auspicious day of Maha Shivratri. Thank you all. Take care. Namah Shivaya.